Yeah, I feel like with squash as well, I could go anywhere in the world, any continent, any city, and somehow have people to stay with or friends to make. It's one of those really nice little close knit, like everybody knows everyone, which is good.
Here we are, season 2, episode 4 of Boast About It with Ciara Richards.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Ciara is a squash pro here at Open Squash. You've played squash since you were a little kid, I believe.
Yeah, since I was just before I turned 5, so 4 3/4, I would say. So nearly 20 years now.
Nearly 20 years.
A long time.
You are so young. The first question, which I just don't know the answer to, is, Ciara, did you ever think of going pro?
A little bit. I half-heartedly tried between high school and college. I took a gap year, and I just didn't really enjoy it that much. It's quite hard.
It's super hard.
Yeah,
It's super hard.
and also to get that love for the sport in some of these, really small PSA tournaments, middle of nowhere in the winter, driving around with my dad, which was fun. But especially then when I went to college squash, and it was so vibrant and so many people watching and cheering you on, I thought I'd rather just do that and sort of have that as my end of my squash career. So I did it for fun. Then I went to college, had the best time ever in college. And then I was like, okay, this is good. I'm happy with this.
So, you're born in Wales.
Yeah, born and raised.
Do you speak Welsh?
A tiny bit.
Can you say something to us in Welsh?
Croeso is welcome. So welcome.
Croeso?
Croeso, yeah. The enw Ciara. My name is Ciara. Rydw i'n hoffi chwarae sponken means I like to play squash.
Perfect.
That's that.
and Wales is a pretty small country. I had pro Peter Creed is from Wales too. Is that a
Yes.
coincidence that you're here and he's here? Is it a part of the Welsh mafia takeover of Open Squash?
I never met any other Welsh people in all 4 years at Drexel, and now I'm here. And there's like 3 other members that are Welsh. Creedy, David's a little bit Welsh.
Oh, that's right,
David
Hughes.
Yeah, he's a little.
He's Canadian, born Canadian, but of Welsh heritage.
Yeah, and he probably knows more Welsh than I do. He puts us to shame. But I've known who Creedy is since I was younger. We played on the PSL team, the Welsh Wizards, together.
Oh, that must have been fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
What's the PSL for everyone out there?
It's the professional squash league in England, but it'll be like big players like Creedy was on our team, Tesney was on our team, Greg Gaultier was on the team, Marwan
Greg Gaultier?
Al-Shabaghi.
Greg Gaultier, that unknown Welshman?
Well, it's like I guess other sports like pro sport, they bring in pros from all over, and I had the advantage of being an up-and-coming junior at the time, so I was like the token junior they put on the team. But I did get to play one match against Joelle King, and she didn't bagel me, which was very nice.
Oh, there you go, fist pump to
I
not
got
being bageled by Joelle King.
Yeah, that was very nice of her. But yeah, we did play on the same team together, which was fun.
That is fun. Whereabouts in Wales do you grow up?
I grew up in a town called Pontypridd in the valleys. Not many people would know where that is. It's kind of close to Cardiff.
That is.
Yeah, the capital's like half an hour from there. Big rugby town. I grew up in a village in the town. So Creedy's in Caerphilly over the other side of the mountain. So we're pretty close.
Very different from New York City.
Very different.
And you did have a little college fantastic time in the middle. But what caused a young Welsh woman, squash player, to come to the United States to play college squash?
I first heard about coming to the US when I was playing the British Junior Open, and they have like recruiters over there. I was probably 12 or 13, and Sam Fenwick was a player I knew from Wales who went to Yale. So I'd heard of people doing that, but I didn't really know if it was possible or not. I mean, when you're that age, and I think I'd been to New York once when I was 12 and I fell in love with it, and then I heard that it was a possibility to come to the US and play. So yeah, a recruiter told my dad, I don't even know where the recruiter was from, but he told my dad one day, you know, we could recruit your daughter if she wants to. I heard that and I was set. I was like, I'm 100% going to do this.
Oh, so from age 12, you're like,
yeah, and
I'm going to America.
Yeah, and we actually, me and my family, we went to New York on holiday, and I wrote a letter when I was 12, and I still have it, saying like, one day I'm going to live in New York City, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I still have the letter, and I was just...
Are there any things in the letter that you said you'd do that you haven't done yet?
I don't know why, but I said I would be wearing Uggs, and I don't have any Uggs.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but it was very surface level. I'm gonna go shopping on Fifth Ave every day.
Have you done that?
I do that too much.
What else is in this letter?
For some reason I said that I would be not living in Brooklyn. I would live in New York. And when I moved here, I was living in Brooklyn. So 12-year-old Ciara would be very annoyed.
Have you lived in
I now
Manhattan
live
itself?
in Hell's Kitchen, yeah.
Oh, so you do.
So I moved. Yeah, she's fine now.
She's happy. It was a staging post.
Yeah. And then as I got a little older, started speaking more seriously to recruits. One of our other open squash players, Hannah Craig, she's one of my best friends growing up and still is, and she got into Harvard, so she helped me a lot with, you know, you just have to put yourself out there. You have to email loads of coaches and all of that stuff.
So Hannah is actually one of the reasons I asked you about going pro, because I did notice. So Hannah Craig, pro squash player on the world tour at the moment, does do a bunch of stuff with us. She's one of our ambassadors out to the world. I did notice that you were her #1 sparring partner here. Like if I saw her on court, I'd see you on court.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly more of a product of just us being best friends. Like we just love to, it was so fun when she was working here more full time. We pretty much coached all the same kids, all the same clinics, all of that sort of stuff. We ran clinics together for the women, so that was fun.
So where did you decide to go to college?
Drexel University, which is where Ona...
Did you know Ona when you were there?
Yeah, we were 2 years apart, so we played on the same team for a while. When I went on my visit, I actually stayed with Ona and her roommates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the recruiter at the time, he was...
So were you competitive on the team?
We would go back and forth in our roster positions, which was funny.
Kidding.
Yeah, we would probably play a challenge match against each other 2 or 3 times a month, and we were always flipping back and forth, which is funny. And now we've both ended up at the same. Such a small world, squash.
That is such a small world.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about squash is that you come so close to the people you play with. And then you can also know the world's best squash players.
Yeah.
And they can be your friends.
Yeah.
I don't know another sport like that.
Yeah, I feel like with squash as well, I could go anywhere in the world, any continent, any city, and somehow have people to stay with or friends to make. It's one of those really nice little close-knit, like everybody knows everyone, which is good.
I think that's 100% true. You could just drop by the local squash community and you'd immediately have 20 friends.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that made me want to come to the US, was because in Wales, our junior circuit will play on the European circuit, so we'll play all around Europe rather than just like, there's not enough tournaments or players within Wales and England. So from 12 years old, I was going, I say by myself, meaning just without my parents and with the other kids and the coaches, but to France, to Spain, Portugal,
that must
Prague.
Have been fun.
It was so much fun, but it also widened the world to me. I was like, wow, there's so many countries, so many places to go. Squash can get me there. And then I heard about, you know, the US, and I was like, I'm gonna do that. Like that's so cool.
So then, coming out of Drexel, you had choices. You've decided to stay as a squash pro, but you know, what was that thinking process like? Did you think about doing other things? Or?
Yeah, so it's really hard being international and trying to get a job in the US. There's a lot of limitations on how many months you have to find a job, and then a lot of places don't want to hire you if they need to do your visa, which is understandable, but there's a lot of barriers. So I was trying to go into journalism. In college, I was writing for sports at the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I loved that. It was so much fun. Tough industry to get into anyway, and then add on the checklist of I'm going to need a visa soon. Not many people really want to speak to you. So I started looking into coaching, which is something I've always enjoyed. I coached during college as well. I reached out to Crudy on Instagram DM being like, hey, do you know if there's any jobs at Open Squash? And I was visiting, again, small world. I was in New York with Hannah, just visiting her. I came to Open Squash, met everyone, and pretty much just got offered a job, and they were very happy with the visas and everything like that. I mean, we're a very international community here. So, and I also get to write a lot for the club, which is good because I get like a mix of not just coaching. I get to write the newsletters, sometimes write the blog, so all of that stuff that I really enjoy as well.
Thank you for that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, I enjoy it. I love writing, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know that one of your passions is women's squash.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
I recently just got the title of, aside from assistant pro, women's community manager as well as. So yeah, I'm very happy about that.
What are you going to do?
Continue doing what I'm still doing, but with a more official title to it, I guess. So when I first started working here, it was me and Hannah at first. We started running these monthly women's round robins. So just replacing the regular round robin with a women's one. Everyone comes. We've had as many as 30 women at one time, which is great. And then it's a social thing as well. So we've had like, not parties, but like food and drinks up at the roof up here afterwards. We've done little workshops explaining how to ref or how to solo practice. And they've become a bit of a fan favorite. We run them every single month. Especially when we do them at FIDE, we can fill all 8 courts. We do them at Bryant Park, we get all 5 courts full of women. So that's been a lot of fun. And then in that, try to encourage them to play regular round robins or just go to regular clinics that are not just women's. We also have, it's called Queen of the Court Clinic, which I'm doing right after this. It's a clinic for women, only women come to it. It's a more like, it's just above beginner level. So we have a lot of beginner women's stuff going on. So this is for the more seasoned players, and they have a good time doing that. I run the women's Instagram, so I made and run the women's Instagram account, which has been, it's so much fun. It's you know, it's funny, it's like part of the job, but it's not. I get to just post stories about Hannah, post stories about our members, write the women's newsletter, congratulate women on what they're doing in the club. We have a women's player of the month. So it's been a lot of fun. I've seen the community grow since I've been here. We've sort of poached a few people from other clubs as well who have said that there's just, I know, but they just said there's not really anything going on for them over there. So they've decided to come and join us because we've got this stuff at least once a month, if not more often than that. And it's always good to see, like when you run these events, women chatting to each other and then come to the club and I see them playing with each other. It's like they met at the event and now they're playing with each other, which is what you want and what we need.
So I'm pretty confident that if you're a women's squash player, you kind of, in New York, you kind of know about open squash at this point because of our
I
vibrant
agree.
community.
I agree.
But if you had a message for women who don't yet play squash, maybe wants to do something athletic, and had never ever thought about squash, what would your message be to her?
My message would be just try it out. You never know until you try. The hardest part is usually getting there in the first place and getting on court. As soon as you're on court, you'll realize you don't need any sort of experience with any other sport. That's the fun thing about squash. There's lots of other women and people that are just starting out and having a great time. There's a huge community here at Open Squash, but also in New York and just the squash world in general. So just come and try it out. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you do, you could potentially have a sport for the rest of your life, friends for life. And it's a great way to keep fit and have fun as well.
Excellent.
So,
and
okay.
Although I'm clearly not a woman, I can vouch for the fact that I'd never had a racket sport. I started playing when I was 39. And, you know, now I'm a very solid, mediocre squash player and have a lot of fun. And if you want to see what a really good squash player is like, Ciara, you're playing in a satellite tournament here,
I
right?
am, yeah. I'm playing in the New York Open, which we're hosting at Open Squash, which was kind of a big deal for me because Mike Pepper, who runs the tournaments, all of last year was convincing me.
Mike Pepper, who is behind the
Yeah,
cameras
that's why I
right
looked
here.
at
He's right there. Say hi, Michael.
Hello.
He was convincing me all of last year to play in the Hyder Cup and those sorts of tournaments, which I did, which made me love squash again and realize it's, you know, even though you're not playing in a high intensity college environment or, you know, really trying to move up the rankings in my own pro career, I can still play and have fun at a high level and just enjoy myself. So, and also I'm trying to convince all these women to come and play tournaments and say, why don't you enter? You play, you know, twice a week and you're not doing the tournament. And they turn around and say to me, well, you're not doing it either, and you've played for 20 years. I realized that I should be playing these things. So I know, and I thought, that's true. So I'm playing and I'm looking forward to it. It's just for fun. We'll see how it goes. But
It's going to go great.
yeah, and I just came back from the How Cup with everyone, so the How Cup is the biggest women's team tournament, I think, in the world, but definitely in the US. Held every year. It's been in Philly for the past few years in the new Spectre Center, the US Squash Center at Drexel. It's incredible. You get sent with your city, so there's like New York, Boston, Philly, Atlanta, most major cities.
How did New York do?
We did amazing. We were the only city with teams in the finals of every single division.
Oh,
which is, yeah,
go New York.
Yeah, which, you know, it's not about the winning or losing, but I think that's just a testament to the hard work we're putting in. New York squash, open squash.
And I'm going to guess I know the answer to this, but what percentage of the team was open squash?
So I don't know the percentage, but from just looking at the teams, it seemed like most women were from open squash, or the highest percentage. And one fully open squash team in the D division, they came second, so they made the finals. So it's really fun. You just get matched up with people from your city. So I wasn't playing with other open squash women. I was just playing with 5 people from New York. And yeah, there's A, B, C divisions, A, B, C, D divisions. You play 1 through 5, so it's kind of like college squash. You know, there's not many team events in squash,
yeah.
And it's all about just growing the game. Like it's so much fun. There's a big party every Saturday night. There was women there who've played this tournament for over 50 years, which is incredible and just shows the longevity of the sport and what it can do for you. It was incredible. I'm very excited for next year already. Just every November. It's so much fun. I would highly recommend. If you're thinking of going, please go. It's amazing.
Well, Ciara, I know we need to get you back to teach more women to be queen of the court, which you have coming up next.
Yes.
So thank you so much for
Thank
the time.
you.
It
That was so
great
much
to see
fun.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.